Hi, I'm Louis Carr, and I'm the founder of WayMaker. And today, from New York City, at the Baccarat Hotel, I have the pleasure of talking to Grammy Award-winning, 14-season housewife star, member of the iconic Xscape group, and now producer of Othello on Broadway that officially opens on Sunday.
Yeah.
Welcome, Kandi Burruss.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sitting down with WayMaker today. You have had an amazing career.
Well, thank you.
I mean,
appreciate
amazing.
that.
You started in music, you killed that. Then you started writing for other people in the industry. You killed that, writing for Whitney Houston and people of those likes. And then you went on to be an actress at the ATL with the Atlanta Housewives. And you did that 14 seasons?
Yeah, but I don't even consider that acting. That's more of like being on a reality TV. But I do act and I'm in The Shy.
You're in The Shy, yes. One of my favorites in my town,
Yes,
Chicago.
girl town, right?
You've done that, and you've been in the restaurant business.
Yes.
Still are in the restaurant business.
Yes. I am.
With your husband, Todd. And now you're on Broadway.
Yes, producing shows.
Tell us about that journey. How did that happen?
I mean, that's a long journey. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make that answer short. But I mean, I started in the entertainment business when I was a teenager. So, I mean, we signed our first record deal when I was 16. But as a teenager, I went to Tri-Cities High School of Visual and Performing Arts. A lot of people think I was a music major in high school for our performing arts program, but no, I was a theater kid. And I was drama and musical theater. And so I also was in the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta. So to say that now, all these years later, for some people, me doing Broadway as an actress or as a producer is like, oh, well, how did you decide to do that? Well, that's something that I've been wanting to do since I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you come to say Broadway, that's the thing that you wanted to do?
Well, okay, so the thing about it is, like I said, I was in Youth Ensemble of Atlanta. And actually some of my other classmates and stuff, they've gone on to be nominated for Tonys. And they've been in the industry for quite some time, yes. So it's really cool that now, seeing them do their thing and, it's always made me feel like, dang, I never really went after it like I wanted to. And I was like, it's never too late. Why am I saying like, it's like, yeah, so what? That they went straight into it coming out of high school and college and coming to New York and making it big on Broadway. For me, it's been a later journey, but it still can happen. So yeah, I said I want to do it. I'm just doing it.
And how did you figure out how to mix being talent also with being a businesswoman?
Well, for me, it's been another thing that happened in my childhood, meaning my teenage years. So I had this thing that I did not want to be one of those kid stars that go on to be broke. You always hear that story of somebody becomes a celebrity when they're young, which I was, like I said, I was 16 when I signed our first record deal at So Def. I never wanted to be that story of, oh, they had success, they had platinum albums and now they broke. I never wanted to be that story. So I used to read a lot of financial books, as a teenager, trying to figure out like, okay, so how do I maintain my lifestyle? Once you start making money at an early age, it's like, okay, well, how do I continue this? I'm living like a grown person now. I bought my first house when I was 19. So it's like, I'm living like an adult, but how do I maintain this? So for me, it was like everything I was reading saying you have to have multiple sources of income to become a millionaire and to stay a millionaire. So for me, it was always like, okay, I need to be, finding multiple things that I am good at that I can continue to make it happen, So that was the goal, to always be able to financially take care of myself, help my family, right? And, that's the whole goal of business for me. And then, obviously having inspiration, watching other people doing their thing. I used,
Who were some of those people that you watched?
I'll tell you this. This is one of my biggest inspirations. And I mean, I've said this to so many people, but Queen Latifah. When I was 19, I'll never forget this. Me and my group, we were at the Lady of Soul Awards, and Queen Latifah was accepting the award for Sammy Davis Jr. Award. And it was because at the time, she was acting. She was a producer. She had a management company, was managing all these people. She was doing multiple things, and she was an artist, music artist. So, and that's why she won the award. And I looked at Tiny, I said, I'm going to win that award. It was just like that. I don't know what it was. It was like that day, it clicked for me. I'm going to win that award. And so the very next day, I said, okay, she was a manager. She did this, she did that. So what can I do? And I was like, I can manage somebody. So I went to high school with Wingo, who was in the group Jagged Edge. At the time, they didn't have a deal or anything. And I was like, Wingo, you still in that group? And he said, yeah. I said, okay, come over to my house and I'll manage y'all. And I got them signed to So Def. And obviously they've gone on to sell millions of records themselves. But that was like she was my inspiration to kind of like change lanes.
Well, congratulations. When I looked at some of the things that you've done, you invested in Piano Man.
Piano lesson.
Piano lesson.
August Wilson, the piano lesson, yes.
The Wiz.
Yes.
Now Othello.
Yes. And the first one we had was Thoughts of a Colored Man.
How did you get in the deal flow? Because everybody talks about in the deal flow. Ain't nobody asked me to invest in the Wiz or anything like this. So how did you get in the deal flow?
Okay, so I knew that I wanted, I had already, like I told you, I already did, I was Mama Morton in Chicago on Broadway. And I told my agent at the time, he's now a manager, I said, hey, I want to do more on Broadway, or I don't know what, but I want to stay in that world. And he was like, well, would you ever consider producing a show? And I was like, yeah, And the opportunity came for Thoughts of a Colored Man. And at the time, that was the year that the world shut down for the pandemic. But they were considering opening Broadway back up. And this would have been the first time ever 7 Black men were able to star on Broadway. And I was like, sounds like that's the one for me. And because in the opportunities that I get, I'm always trying to elevate and make way for more opportunity for, people like myself, Black people, people of color and women.
Sound like a waymaker.
Yes. Sounds like a waymaker. Yes. You think it's that, but yes. So for me, I was like, okay, there are so many reasons to be a producer on this show. And it's meaningful. And I want to be a part of that. So I joined up with my producing partner, which is Brian Moreland. And we connected and we clicked and we really made waves with that show. Like, we had people coming up to New York to go to a show who had never thought about coming to New York for a show. And during a time when when the city was kind of shut down. So at that point, Brian and I decided we was gonna stay teamed up, and all the projects that we did, we were gonna do them together. So he's kind of like my mentor. Okay. I always tell people, even though, that was like his first big show as well, but he had a little bit more knowledge about how do we get investors, how do you, set it up, and all of those things. For me, what I brought to it was, I have a different way of how to push a show, a Broadway show. Back before us, I think a lot of people was doing the norm of, they just, all the people who were subscribers or, have membership, whatever they do here in New York. People who are in New York, if you catch a play, they promote to those people. But for me, I come from music industry background. We do all the chitlin circuit. We go everywhere. We promote. You just like when we talking off camera. I said, I see you everywhere. Everywhere. I'm going to go every city. I'm going to go to, it doesn't matter the place. I'm going to make sure that the people know about the shows that we are delivering. And I think it was really recognized when we did our second show, which was the piano lesson. That was the second one that Brian and I did together. And that's when Todd also came aboard. And 70% of our ticket sales were from first-time Broadway show goers. And that's fact. And so that's unheard of as well. Like, you never really hear that many people who've never gone to a Broadway show deciding they're going to go see one. These people were coming from everywhere, flying from Houston, D.C., Atlanta, L.A., all around to come to the city to see our show. And it was no longer, we're just waiting for the people who just so happen to be in New York to see our show. We are making our shows the destination. So people are coming to New York for the shows that we produce. And I think that has helped, even though, don't get me wrong now, obviously we've had some heavy hitters in some of our shows. Obviously right now we got Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal. But it's like, you still, no matter how big your talent or your artist is, you still have to make sure that the people know about it and that people are going to come from far and wide to come see it.
Well, you're clearly doing a good job because, as I told you, I see you everywhere, all right? And I think that's so important that you're out pushing Othello during this time. So let's talk about Othello.
Okay.
Why Othello? Why did you say, this is one I'm going to lean into, I'm going to really work hard to make sure it's successful, and that first time, people who've never been to plays before go out and see this one?
Okay. Well, the reason why we did Othello is really because of Denzel Washington.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Well, when we were doing the piano lesson, John David Washington was one of our stars.
His son.
His son, Denzel's son. And that was when we first established a relationship with Denzel and the family. And Brian and Denzel had a conversation. He said he wanted to come back on Broadway. He said he wanted to do this show. And he said, make it happen. And that's what we did.
Wow.
Yes.
Just that simple.
That simple. Because, as producers, that's a dream come true to have that opportunity. So if Denzel says this is what he want to do and to make it happen, you go make it happen. All right? So that's basically what happened. And it is important right now. I mean, for most people have heard of Othello. If they haven't, it's a play written by Shakespeare. And it's a very old play. But then for people like ourselves, African Americans, Othello was a Moor. And he was married to, he was a man in his 60s, actually. And he was married to a young woman, a white man of well-to-do means. He himself was in the army. He was a general in the army. And the show, I always tell people, it's not about race. But people, because over the years when they first had Othello, they did not have Black people playing in roles where they were able to kiss a white woman in a film or kiss a white woman on stage. So originally, when Othello was done, they were white actors painted Black, which is crazy. But that's what was happening during that time. And so that's why I think the race conversation comes up even to this day. But the show is really about jealousy, envy, and, betrayal. That's what the show is about. But I think the cool thing about our version of Othello is that it is, even though it's still the words of Shakespeare, it is set in 2028.
Okay.
So it's more current. You feel like you can really relate to what's happening because the clothes and stuff they're wearing are, clothes from current times, and, a general just has on normal army fatigue or army clothing that you're used to seeing, but they're still speaking the words of Shakespeare. So it's different in that way.
Wow. Now, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was in 2028, and I didn't know that they were wearing clothes like we're wearing today.
Yeah.
So that should be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what, for me, when I even watched it myself, it was kind of cool to see it that way. Because because we have some amazing actors in this show.
You too.
So as they're speaking, I'm used to, if I see a Shakespearean play, there, where art thou, da, 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 but when they do it, it just made it seem like regular conversation, and the passion and the way they deliver it makes me feel like I relate.
So you guys had like a soft opening a week ago, and you broke a Broadway record. Tell us about it.
Yes, we have made history now already. The highest grossing ticket sales in 1 week. And what I will say, what is so special about it is that means it's bigger ticket sales than Harry Potter, than Lion King, all of the big shows that people know about that have made history on Broadway. And not only was it bigger ticket sales, but on a regular week. It was on a week where it's historically ticket sales are low because people go on spring break and then out of town, they don't come to New York. But their high ticket sales was during Christmas weeks. So we were able to break the record during a time where the ticket sales normally aren't even that high.
And so how long you officially open this Sunday, which will be March 23rd.
Yeah.
And you'll run until
June 8th.
Until June 8th.
Yeah.
So people watching this, they still got time.
You still got time. But what I always tell everyone, please don't wait to the last minute to buy your ticket, because the tickets are selling out. And we really only have a small inventory of tickets left throughout the rest of the run. So I always tell people, get your tickets now. Get your tickets now, because, you never know. You never know if you will ever see Denzel and Jake on stage together like this ever again. So this is kind of a historic moment to be able to see two icons on stage in a close proximity doing the work.
Well, that sounds exciting. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
But what's next for Kandi?
What's next? Oh my goodness, I'm doing so much, y'all. I got a lot of stuff going on. So, well, first, my husband and I, we also produce films. So we already have one that we finished. It's called Don't Bring Your Man to Atlanta.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay.
It's good. And actually,
Is it a drama or comedy?
it's drama. We only do kind of like dramas with a twist, not those type of shows. But the funniest thing, a lot of people, I'm not on Housewives anymore, but of course I have close ties. But Shamia, the newest peach that everybody's talking about, she's actually starring in Don't Bring Your Man to Atlanta. So it's going to be great for everybody to see. But we had that coming. We're about to shoot another film next month, actually. I am producing a girl group. They're called Siren, which I made history with them recently. I was excited about that. They were the first girl group in 23 years to have a #1 song on Billboard's R&B airplay chart, which is crazy. I was like, it's been 23 years since a girl group has done it, but yeah, I was surprised. But I have so much more to do with them, so I'm dropping an EP on them, top of May. I am doing more music. My group Xscape, we have shows that are lined up that are happening. And next one is May 3rd.
It's my birthday.
You're a Taurus?
Yes.
I am too. May 17th.
Okay.
Team Taurus. You know how we do.
Yes.
Yes.
So now I understand why you got so many jobs.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question. Can a woman really have it all? Can you have it all? You're a mom.
Yes.
You're a wife.
Yes.
You're a talent.
Yes.
You're a businesswoman.
Yes.
It seems like a woman can have it all.
That is the goal. Yeah, I feel like, for sure, I'm trying to make the best of life. I'm trying to have fun. And like, even as far as like what I've been doing this year, I've been taking more time to vacation more with, family and doing stuff. Because trying to make sure I found that balance, because before I felt like I was heavy on the work side and not enjoying life as much. So I was trying to, this year, super focused on the balance part. But definitely still making waves on the business side because I got goals. Now, for all the women out there who, question if you can do it, yes, you can. And, it's really a just do it thing. It don't do all that time. Oh, I ain't gonna be able to do it because of this. Or I don't have the money because of that. Oh, this and that. Blah, blah, blah. Like, stop. Just go ahead and take a little baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. Find good people that you can, a good village around you to help you. If you're a mom, I used to do this when I was a single mom, when it was just me and my first daughter, right? I had a friend, she was in medical school. So we would like help each other. If she was really busy, she would take my daughter and do stuff with her while I had finished whatever I had to do, and vice versa. When she had to study or whatever, I would take her daughter and we'd do things. So our kids always stayed active, always had fun. They never felt like they were missing out on anything. And mama was always, oh, my mom, we have good times. And they're not really thinking about when you're busy. Or the other approach I take is I keep my kids busy too. I have them in all kind of activities. My son is even working. He acts. I just gotta feel like when you make sure that they're active and they know the importance of work ethic, man, they understand when you are doing your thing and going after your goals. So yes, you can. If you can conceive the thought, you can make it happen.
So you've done so much. You've had this great journey. Is there a book coming?
Everybody says that, but
It sounds like there's a book there. They say everybody has at least one book in.
people say that. I feel like I got 100 books in me, but I'm not really, I don't know if right now is the time I'm supposed to do it, because I feel like I still have so much more to do.
Well, no. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3.
That's how they do it? Okay.
So you don't have to just do one. You ain't got to save it all up to the end. You could do them on the way, because you're doing so much. I think people look up to you. You're having major impact in so many different areas of business and entertainment. I think people need your advice on how to get that done.
Well, thank you. Maybe so. Maybe that's in my future.
Well, we're going to claim it. All right. Okay. Kandi, we thank you for this. We appreciate this. We wish you the best of luck with Othello and your movies and everything else that you're doing. And ask this one final question.
Oh, okay.
Who was your waymaker to put you on this path?
Ooh. What, my mom? My mom has to be my waymaker, and I know everybody says that, but I have to give her a specific credit, okay? It's one thing to believe in your kids, but a lot of people tell their children, okay, just wait till you graduate from high school, graduate from college, and then you can go ahead and do whatever you got to do. But my mom understood that I wanted to make my dream happen in high school. And a lot of parents won't allow their kids to travel the world without them, or go to the studio and be there late at night knowing they got to go to school the next day. Now, yeah, she used to be on me like, you better not let those grades drop. But she supported me the whole way. And that was major, because that allowed me to start my journey early. So I have to say, Mama.
Well, we thank you for that. And to our audience, come to New York, go to Broadway, see Othello, and you might just happen to see Kandi Burruss while
you would.
Thank you.